Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Sunday to you and your family. Hope you're having a wonderful holiday weekend if you're here in the States. Otherwise, just thanks for joining me here. Now, what we're going to talk about is, of course, Bitcoin. We're going to take a quick peek at this most recent volume here with a lot of extra money coming into the market and just getting dumped and instantly recovering. So that's a pretty good sign here. We'll talk about that and much more. Same thing with iBot Capital too, just kind of help you understand big picture and what's going on in the back end here. There's some interesting stuff with open interest. Furthermore, too, make sure you check this out. It's a new exclusive event here from BingX because a lot of KYC requirements are coming through with Bybit a couple months ago, and then of course now with KuCoin. So if you are with those exchanges, you kind of got to transition. This is great because you get $50 bonus, and you also get $100 bonus if you transfer. Or no, correction, not transfer. Your volume trading is 3,000. It's super easy with leverage. So again, nice little $150 deposit bonus, and we do work with them, of course, because a lot of our members were affected by KYC here. So check that out. No VPN or KYC required for BingX. So with Bitcoin, what we want to talk about is, well, we're going to look at some big picture stuff here, but we're also going to look at some smaller things as well, okay? So let's just go ahead and quickly acknowledge some obvious stuff here. Again, this is kind of a weekend analysis, kind of wrapping up the trading week, kind of looking at the weekly candles. It's important to do that. If we take a look at the RSI, we're still over 50, below 70, so that's a positive sign. Stochastic's giving us the indication that we should see further upside. So there's some really good stuff there in the regard of the weekly. We can also see we have somewhat of a, actually let's go to this larger time frame here. We got somewhat of a golden cross here forming. So in other words, we got the weekly 50-day SMA coming up here with the 200. So that's going to be a pretty good thing. Of course, we're about a month or two away from that in all likelihood, but generally speaking, that's going to give us confirmation we're on the right side of both tracks. Okay, so again, that 200 is averaging itself out at 26.6. If the price were to pull back at any point, we should see a lot of support in the low 27 range. Okay, that's again a worst case scenario. You could also take a look at the exponential moving averages and see that we've also had a golden cross previously as well, but I prefer simple moving averages in larger time frames because it gives you more accurate data. It's not necessarily moving faster with the market because it's a larger time frame, right? EMAs are helpful, definitely, on lower time frames, just say 1 hour or less. That's my personal opinion, but it's worked very well for me over the years. So again, just something to kind of think about there. So again, the weekly looks fairly fantastic. Let's take a look at the daily here really quick and quickly peek at the previous monthly, or previous weekly rather. So we can see here, the last week's high is upwards about 31,500. We can expect that to be a resistance. We've also got the price averaging itself out just above the 1 week close, which is 30,500. So we should expect 30,500 as a rough estimate to be the new support level, okay? Yeah, now that the weekly has closed. So just something to kind of think about there on the daily. Let's take a quick peek here, of course, at some bigger picture stuff. So again, we got this resistance level at 30,700. We keep retesting it though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days pretty much in a row. Okay. So 9 days in a row retesting the same level. There's a good chance we're going to break through that. Okay. So to me personally, a long position at this point makes more sense. Obviously, it's a weekend. You want to be careful with that. We have a long position open as a community. But again, we got some pretty tight targets too. We're not going super aggressive with our stop loss, even though it would probably be pretty safe. There's still potential for downside. We got to understand that, right? But there's still a lot more reasons why the price should increase here moving forward. We got this strong doji candle here that closed on Friday, and today here so far we are forming another doji. So it kind of just tells us there's indecision in the market, but there's a lot of other things too. In fact, let's take a quick look at iBot Capital and kind of gauge what's going on here. We can see still a lot more selling pressure than buying pressure, okay? But it's starting to dissipate. And as the price continues to maintain this level, we start seeing a lot less asks than bids, basically implying that people are trying to sell less now than they were a week ago at this level. Essentially implying that the price action should go up because of the fact that it's not going down, right? You can maintain this level for so long. We're building a strong volume profile. We'll take a look at that as well. And just generally speaking, we're looking pretty strong here. So Friday, obviously, we saw some pretty good short squeezes there, and of course, we've gotten some longs kind of get hit this weekend. But there's just some really aggressive candle wicks that kind of happen. So be mindful of that. We saw one just this morning, in fact, about an hour ago. Millions of dollars were transferred to exchanges, and of course, big surprise, the price dipped by about 500. That's not a lot in the big picture, maybe only 1 or 2%, but it closed out a lot of positions, right? And that just happens. Anyways, enough about that. We can see whales are still kind of hanging out on the sidelines, not really trying too hard to push the price action down. We can see that longs, we have more longs open today than closed, which is a good sign. More people, more long bias. We can also see that shorts are effectively closing their positions today more than they're opening. that is a very positive sign. So that's kind of a shift in momentum, if you will. Fear and greed index is roughly close to its most recent high there, right around the 60s, which is perfect. And if we take a look at, of course, open interest, we can kind of see here that with the longs, we got some longs that got squeezed out. Of course, you can see right here with this strong push down right about 30,350. That's roughly where the longs had their stop losses. They got stopped out, and they're right back in here. You can take a look at the shorts too. We got some late shorts here that are underwater right now at 30,400. So be careful being a late short to the game. Obviously, you could say the same thing with being a late long too, but at this point, it makes a lot more sense to increase the price than the price will decrease, right? And you'll see on smaller time frames what that means. But to summarize here on the daily, let's go ahead and kind of wrap this up here with the daily and work our way down. You can see the MACD is starting to still lose momentum, right? But this doesn't mean anything yet at all until it either diverges or converges. So we could see one or two things. The price comes down and we see that, that's shift in momentum. At that price, we might want to consider shorting positions. But what usually happens a lot, and I call this an MACD-FU, is the price comes down and bounces right off that level, and it essentially tricks you into thinking it's going to go one way and goes the other. Okay, so that's kind of what we're thinking is going to happen. At least I'm thinking that, because the overall momentum here, if we break 31,000, push towards 32, then we're obviously going to see that shift. Okay, take a look here, of course, at the RSI. We're trending perfect spot. This is my favorite place when the RSI is hanging out right between 50 and 70. I love this. You can also see stochastics kind of telling us it might want to converge here. So if we do see a little bit of a shift, we break 30,700, we're going to be off to the races. Okay, money flow index is still fairly high. Those are all positive signs. So again, mostly positive versus negative. And of course, we can see here the trend setter is the 20-day SMA. It's working its way up here right around 28,800. So it keeps getting higher and higher. And if we can maintain a level above that, we're going to be in pretty good shape. So I'm hoping the price action continues to maintain and then stays above, and we just naturally continue to increase. But again, the 20-day SMA on the daily is probably one of my favorite indicators, letting me know if we are, which side of the tracks we're on, but also it goes concurrent with an ascending type of trend. So you can oftentimes just draw out your trend lines with it, and it'll kind of guide you, right? So again, it's basically a trend setter, if you will. Okay, so daily looks pretty positive. Let's take a quick peek at the 4-hour. Let's see what's going on here. I like to see that we are above 50 in the RSI. We're looking good. Stochastic, we got a little bit of a push up, which is nice, a little recovery from this candle wick down. We can also see on the MACD that we're pretty much trending closer to a convergence. No guarantees. Is not a lot of volume and not a tremendous amount of momentum. This holiday weekend, things are always a little funny, so try to recognize that the market's going to be a little janky for the next couple of days. But generally speaking, that's essentially what we're looking at there. Okay, so this is a positive sign, because ultimately that should converge if all goes well. Okay, so as long as the price just continues to come up a little bit, we'll get that little squeeze out, likely on the 4-hour time frame there at 30,700. We break 30,700, we're going to be in good shape. In fact, you can see it was retested here today and instantly rejected, but that's the first attempt, right? Again, more often you test a level, the more likely it is to break. We've seen 2 or 3 attempts in the last 48 hours, so it's a good sign. So again, I'm a little biased towards long position, and again, these are the reasons why. I'm kind of explaining that, and there's more reasons than not. So if we take a look, of course, at the hourly, it's important to recognize that we are, once again, range-bound, so being above the cloud isn't super important. But I think what is, and we'll see this here soon, if the price can breach above a little bit higher, we'll see the lagging span be free and clear of the price action, and that'll tell us that we're in good shape to take a long. Now again, with us being above the cloud here, that's mostly positive, but it's not a confirming factor. Okay, we got to recognize that. So again, when you look at the hourly, there's not a lot going on here, in truth. I mean, we've got some overextensions, but they're really minor because it's a weekend. With this extra volatility coming in, with the extra volume, and just as how large this candle wick is down, this leads me to believe that we're going to see the price continue higher, because all this selling pressure did nothing. The price equaled itself out, provided its average true range at 30,550 quite easily. Okay, so a good entry for a long position would be 30,550 in my personal opinion. Again, just something I'm thinking about. That's kind of what we're looking at there. Now, again, overall big picture, I think we're looking pretty steady here. Let's take a quick peek at the 15-minute. We got some confirming factors here from our CC Golden indicator. This helps me believe that we're on the right side of the tracks here, of course, based on simple moving averages, relative strength, and effectively not being overextended. So I think we're in good shape there. Obviously, a bunch of money comes back into the market. The price can go down at any time. You got to recognize that. Trading is not perfect, nor is this analysis, but it does increase the odds, right? I think we're about a 70% probability of more upside than downside at this given time. Now, could it hit 31,000 and turn right around like it has done many times before? Yeah, there's a good chance of that. But until then, there's a better chance 31K will be retested than 30,000. That's just kind of the way that we're looking here, right? Again, just increasing the odds of success. So all in all, that's kind of what we're looking at there. You can also see stochastics gives us a little bit more of an potential for uptrend here as well. We got a little more momentum here left to go. So all in all, pretty good stuff here. I am a little more, again, leaning more towards upside than downside. So that's kind of the weekend analysis. Once again, if you found benefit here today, like, subscribe, follow, help us grow our Twitter community too. This is just a lot of fun to be able to kind of get in touch with everybody. And obviously, if you like, retweet, and follow us here, you get a chance to go ahead and become a community member there for 1 month free. Last but not least, be sure to check out our crypto cash trading here. We've got some really cool stuff going on. That's kind of the infant stages here, but this is just a little side account for me that 5 people are copying right now so far, and they found a decent amount of profit. Okay, again, small account, seeing how large we can grow this guy, but I'm not a crazy aggressive trader. I'm sure you figured that out by now. So slow and steady wins the race. That's kind of where I'm at. All right. I hope that makes sense to you and you can benefit, obviously. Feel free to check this out, all linked down below. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks again so much for your time. We'll see you in tomorrow's video. Have a good one. Take care.